Well, hello everyone. My name is Patrick Fallon, and for my presentation, I will be examining the role of a Dean of Student Affairs in higher education. And for this, I will be discussing my interview with a dean who is currently employed at a state university. And before I would like to start my presentation, I just want to give a little background into why I chose the student affairs sector of higher education. And as an undergrad, I was involved in an international organization known as NACUR, which is the National Association of College and University Residence Halls. And this organization was set to build connections, provide resources and support for resident student associations as well as resident student leaders in colleges and universities across the world. And I was involved as a part of the regional board of directors for the Northeast affiliate of College and University Residence Halls. And as a graduate student at Northeastern, I'm looking to be more involved within ACUHO-I, which is the Association of College and University Housing Officers, which is an organization focused on professional development and providing resources for all those in the student affairs sector of higher education, specifically those employed within housing and residence life offices. And many deans of student affairs are involved in some way in housing departments on campus, which has influenced me to apply for the housing internship program in January. So Dallas Long of Illinois State University states that student affairs professionals deliberately create programs, services, and experiences that will advance the students' growth in one or more dimensions of their lives. And the goal of student affairs divisions in higher education is focusing on student development, specifically their emotional and intellectual capacities. And this is observed from both inside and outside the classroom. So many examples of these include soft skills such as interpersonal skills, which are helpful for gaining valuable leadership experience and helping students discover who they are as individuals and scholars. In the next couple slides, I will be focusing on the current trends within higher education, in particular for educational administrators in post-secondary education. So what is the trend? In the United States, as of 2014, there are approximately estimated 200,000 that have been employed, that are employed within as educational administrators in the post-secondary field. And in 2024, it's looking to go up to 190,000, which is a 9% increase, and projected annual job openings of 6,610. And within the state that I have observed, which I have highlighted in black, is in 2014 there were 1,940 that were employed within this particular section of higher education. And in 2024, it's looking to go up to about 2,120, which is another 9% increase, and projected annual job openings, 70 projected annual job openings. And within the distribution of educational attainment, there are 44.8% that currently have master's degrees that are employed between the ages of 25 and 44, and 23.5% of them have bachelor's degrees, and only 13.2% holding doctoral degrees. And 45% of these education administrators are women, as opposed to 55% who are men. And going into years of experience, 30% of these individuals have 1 to 4 years of experience, as well as 10 to 19 years of experience, and 23% of them having 5.9 years of experience. So the trend is that most of these individuals have between the 1 and 19 years of experience, with lesser percentage having 20 years or more of experience. So going into the institutional background, much of the information that was given to me by the dean was not obtained from the university website, and the dean noted that much of the information on the chronology of the university's evolution was not clearly linked within their website. So much of the information that I have gathered was from an outside source given to me by the dean. In 1903, the university was founded as a normal school for women, in other words, a teacher's college. And in 1959, the university had increased its size with additional classroom buildings and the additions of a new residence halls and evolving into a co-ed institution. And it was in that year that the university was recognized as officially as a college. And by 1983, the university had expanded to two separate campuses, which are about approximately 20 minutes away, separated by a highway. And it was that year that the university was recognized, the college was officially recognized as a university. And in 2011, the university had transferred its governance from the Board of Trustees model to the State Board of Regents model. So going into the interviewee, I interviewed a Dean of Student Affairs within a state university who had more than 20 years of experience, who had served under the leadership of 3 university presidents. And the Dean of Student Affairs at this particular university reports to the Vice President of Student Affairs, who then reports to the President of the university. And this particular Dean of Student Affairs had formerly held faculty positions within the visual and performing arts at their former institution. And in collaboration with the Assistant Dean of Student Affairs, the departments and particular individuals that the Dean of Student Affairs oversees is intercollegiate athletics, pre-collegiate access programs, housing and residence life, the student centers on both campuses, university police, student life activities and recreation programs, accessibility services, alcohol and substance abuse programs, career development center, counseling center, health services, and judicial affairs. And this particular Dean of Student Affairs is known to have a constant presence on campus, attending many lectures and advocating for the students regarding changes affecting them, and participating in student-run programs throughout campus. So I wanted to focus now on the Dean of Student Affairs and the university, and how the dean sees the university from their position. And I broke it down into 3 different sectors, in particular involvement, culture and climate, and the current environment status. So the university has 4 particular schools of degrees. In the top 2 is the School of Arts and Sciences, as well as the School of Professional Studies. And then following right below them is the School of Business and the School of Visual and Performing Arts. And currently the student ratio has gone down as of this current academic year, with 5,298 students that are currently enrolled for this year, with 4,422 full-time students, and 4,250 full-time, as well as 1,048 part-time students. And that is compared to last year, last academic year, with 5,952 students enrolled, which is broken down into 4,422 full-time students and 1,530 part-time. And 65% of the student population are commuter students. And the university, according to the dean, has recognized that there is a need to connect this student group with what takes place within the university. And going down to degree programs, the university has 38 degree programs to choose from. And many of these include from the School of Business, within education, nursing, and the performing arts being the top sought-after degree programs. And with regards to faculty, there are 205 full-time faculty, with 90% of them having a doctoral degree, and 388 part-time faculty, which includes adjunct professors. And many of the adjunct professors on campus are involved within the local community, having jobs as working for the local high school, and teaching part-time for night courses. And scrolling down to the faculty-student ratio, the faculty-student ratio is 13 to 1, 13 students for every 1 professor. And going down to the student population, 32% of the students are non-white, and the dean had described this as dreamer students. And the dreamer students he defined are students that carry H-1B visas, allowing them to attend the university and to study, and approximately 400 of these students have a strong international background. And the university has a very active ISCP program, and there's a very small population that exists on campus, and it's looking to continue to grow in size. So with regards to the climate and culture, there are three driving factors that the Dean of Students had outlined within their interview. And the first is proximity. The university is in close proximity to a Metro North Railroad station, with being only an hour train ride away from New York City, and the university is centrally located on the border between of New York State, and the university attracts 90% state residents, and the proximity opens a broader connection to local high schools within the New York State area. And the second thing is competitive athletic programs. The university is a Division III school, and the university is one of 4 universities that are Division III within the state, and which offers a variety of choices to choose from throughout the state, which is a broad range of opportunities for scholarships. And the third is involvement in the local community. The dean mentioned their involvement within what was called a day of service, which recruits 30 students and faculty and staff to take part within the local community to serve, volunteer, and serve local businesses. And the dean mentioned that the local area that the university resides is a great area for internship opportunities. And the culture of the university, the dean mentioned, is very well-rounded. And liberal arts is the essential foundation of the university, and it allows students to weigh their options towards their future goals. And an example of a degree program that is currently growing is the Health Promotion Exercise Program, and the Ansel School of Business, which is continuing to grow, which currently is awaiting national recognition, national accreditation. And a new first-year experience initiative that is taking place within the university is allowing prospective students to essentially gain a smooth transition to the college university life, and it's helping to boost recruitment and recognition of the university. So the current environment status of the university is quite positive. In 2015 to 2016, that academic year, the university was recognized as a college of distinction, and in 2015 it also was awarded the best of winner for the state that it resides in. And the university, according to Dean, is very confident in what the institution addresses for the future. They do address that retention is the current issue taking place, and it's gaining, and one of the initiatives that they are looking to gain is outer classroom experience, and this includes students getting more involved on campus. So the Dean of Student Affairs and their role within the university, the Dean of Student Affairs oversees all departments in relation to the student's personal development. And in addition to that, the Dean of Student Affairs serves on various subcommittees, and 3 of these committees that the Dean had mentioned includes the Student Life Committee, which oversees programming as well as other initiatives for student clubs and organizations on campus. The Campus Resource Team, which was acronymed CART, which overlooks Title IX issues and sexual assault related cases. And Student Care Team and Behavioral Intervention Team, which is the acronym for that is BIT. And these subcommittees meet twice a month to analyze trends with the student life community. And in addition to that, the Dean of Student Affairs is also an adjunct professor for interpersonal communication. The organizational structure. The dean is considered one of the vice president's chief superior officers. And Pelter describes developing a framework and organizational structure for collaboration is an important element if institutional goals are to be accomplished, and that the campus functions best as a community, not as a group of separate, non-communicating administrative fiefdoms. And many of the administrators within the Department of Student Affairs have been employed for more than 10 years. And that makes them very familiar with each other's work dynamic and making the decision-making process a lot faster. And the dean's role with students is to be an advocate for the students, an adjudicator for cases that have taken place if they are resident students, and being a constant presence on campus. And the dean noted that citizenship is essentially a twofold competency within the student affairs role. And according to a source, the student affairs professional identified it as a skill to be practiced as a citizen for the department and for the campus in which they work, and also as a value to be instilled to students. So the deans of student affairs and their external influence, the board of trustees model to board of regents model is quite interesting to note when I was doing the interview. And essentially the dean of student affairs noted that there is no difference between the two. One of the strengths that the dean of student affairs noted was that no one institution is treated as one and the same. The university is one of 4 in the state, and the university is treated based on current student population and core academic strengths. And that was something that was noted by the dean very highly. And one of the weaknesses is thought engagement. And this was a conversation that went on for a while about what was taking place within the Board of Regents, and essentially how to structure an idea supported with research. An example that the dean brought up was in 2014, where the Board of Regents was looking to merge the state university, the 4-year state institutions, with the local community colleges within the state. The idea was eventually shut down due to lack of research and lack of thought within the process. And with regards to the leadership of both presidents, the dean served under 3 presidents as well as 2 Board of Regents presidents. The former Board of Regents president resigned his position due to poor leadership, which was noted by the dean. And the current presidents, both the university and the Board of Regents presidents, according to the dean, are tuned in to what is taking place across the state and the nation. And that, with regards to shared governance, the dean's thought of that was that it really runs the risk of things being polarized. And this was in the case with the University Senate. There was cases with the University Senate, one of which was the switch from old general education requirements to core competencies, which was not being solved as quickly as it should have been, resulting in the resolution dying within the Senate. And another issue that came was with advisement, and that was eventually stonewalled by the Senate after being proposed by the Student Government Association. So the Dean of Student Affairs and their perspective. William Patrick Leonard claims that the majority of U.S. higher education institutions can no longer rely on the historic levels of government support or philanthropic largesse, nor can they depend on the continued utility of tuition fees and enrollment increases or aligned revenue with their immutable culture-driven costs. So with external controls over higher education, the dean noted three essential elements to that, and the first was financial aid opportunities. And since 2008, within the state, the average tuition it was up by $2,740 for four-year public colleges and universities. And the amount of federal aid, according to Dean, is helpful to the university and steady, but more is needed. And with checks and balances, funding from the state had dropped 50% or more in recent years, leaving 35 cents to the dollar, according to the dean. And nationally, it was recorded as at an average of 10 to 12%. And Leonard addressed again that institutions must become much more responsible for the internal balancing of their budgets. Otherwise, their sustainability is questionable. And within the university, the dean noted budget cuts which have taken place at the university, which included cuts within auxiliary services, particularly food services, and funding for student clubs and organizations. And the dean noted that all the finance and policy was shaped. It was shaped rather than dictated. And with regards to research, the dean noted an example of an involvement with the NCAA. In the past 5 years, public universities pumped more than $10.3 billion in mandatory student fees and other subsidies into their sports programs, according to the Chronicle and Huffington Post. The dean noted that the government should have played a better role in setting the standards for students playing in college sports, and according to the dean, this was considered a travesty. And the government is not involved at all with these curriculum standards, but instead will conduct an occasional survey to conduct research on its own. So with regards to the role of higher education in society, Henderson claims that higher learning should exist for the betterment of society and the promotion of democratic ideals. And the dean noted that a university should be considered a conduit for a better society, in particular focusing on classes in which one is educated and becomes a better citizen and a member of a democratic society. And secondly, community, being inclusive with regards to inclusivity and taking part in co-curricular programs, cultural events, and leadership opportunities to be better connected. And essentially, the biggest challenge within the dean's role is finding a mechanism that helps students to be able to learn and study, and having that support they need, and to identify any personal issues or issues regarding lack of preparation. And Long stated that student affairs professionals help students find solutions to dilemmas that threaten to disrupt their academic studies, which includes resolving conflicts between students and faculty, providing guidance on select legal issues, and working with students to find a voice in the campus on student-related concerns. So I have listed my image references as well as my resources, and I would like to thank you for tuning into my presentation, and I look forward to your thoughts and comments with regards to the role of the Dean of Student Affairs in higher education in the student affairs sector. And I look forward to reading them. Thank you very much.